My fiancé is a homicide detective, and I'm starting to feel like he treats me more. My name is Mara Ellison, and until about 3 months ago, I thought the biggest problem in my life was deciding between ivory or champagne linens for our wedding. I'm engaged to Lucas Hale. He's 36, tall in that quiet, unshowy way, and a homicide detective in a city that's always on the news for the wrong reasons. When people hear that, they usually react one of two ways. Either they lean in, eyes sparkling, asking about crazy cases, or they get solemn and say something like, "That must be hard." I used to do the leaning in. Now I understand the solemn look. Lucas and I met 4 years ago at a friend's birthday party. He didn't mention his job until our third date. When he did, he framed it gently, like he was warning me about a bad habit. I remember joking, "So you're basically a human lie detector?" He smiled, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. I didn't think much of it then. I do now. At first, being with a detective felt oddly comforting. He noticed things. He remembered details. He asked questions that made me feel seen. When I talked about my childhood, he followed up weeks later with things I'd casually mentioned once. I mistook that for intimacy. Maybe it was. Or maybe it was training. After we got engaged, things shifted. Subtle at first. He started asking me to clarify stories I'd told him before. Not in an accusatory way. More like he was tidying loose ends in his head. "You said your sister moved out when you were 16, but I thought earlier you said 15. Little things like that. I laughed them off. People misremember. So did I. Then came the questions about my routine. What time do you usually leave work? Do you always take the same route home? Who was that guy you had lunch with last Tuesday? The last one caught me off guard. I told him it was Aaron from accounting. He nodded, but his eyes lingered on my face like he was watching for something else. A twitch. A slip. I remember feeling a chill, even though his voice stayed calm. Lucas works long hours. When he comes home late, there's a heaviness that follows him inside. Sometimes he showers immediately, like he needs to wash the day off his skin. Other times he sits at the kitchen table in the dark, just thinking. I learned not to interrupt those moments. But recently, those moments have started to include me. One night, while we were eating dinner, he asked me to walk him through my entire day. From the moment I woke up to the moment he got home. I joked that it sounded like a police report. He didn't laugh. He just said, "Humor me." So I did. And as I talked, he corrected me. Not about facts, about emphasis. "You skipped over lunch pretty quickly," he said. "Why is that?" I stared at him, fork hovering midair, suddenly unsure of myself. I hadn't skipped it. Had I? The worst part isn't the questions. It's the notes. I found the notebook by accident while looking for a charger in his home office. It was black, unmarked, tucked into the bottom drawer of his desk. I know I shouldn't have opened it. I tell myself that all the time. But curiosity has a way of justifying itself. The first page had my name on it. Mara Ellison. Written neatly, precisely. Underneath were bullet points. My birthday. My parents' names. My workplace. Things any fiancé would know. Things that, on their own, meant nothing. But then there were timestamps. Monday, arrived home 6:42 p.m. Thursday, discrepancy in account of dinner. Discrepancy. That word sat in my chest like a stone. I flipped pages, my hand shaking. There were observations, behavioral notes, mood changes, even a section titled stress indicators. I felt like I was looking at myself through a two-way mirror, suddenly aware of how much I'd been observed without consenting to it. When Lucas came home that night, I was sitting on the couch with the notebook in my lap. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just asked, "What is this?" He looked at it, then at me and sighed. A tired, genuine sound. "I was hoping you wouldn't find that." That was worse than any denial. He told me he didn't mean for it to go that far. That work habits bleed into real life. That after seeing enough people lie to you with a straight face, you start documenting everything. He said it was about feeling in control. About protecting what he loved. I asked him if he trusted me. He didn't answer right away. That pause did something to me. It rearranged the furniture in my mind. "I want to," he finally said. Since then, I can't unsee it. Every conversation feels like an interview. Every disagreement feels like I'm being weighed and measured. When I get emotional, I can almost hear him categorizing it. When I change my mind, I imagine him adding a note. Last week, I came home early because I wasn't feeling well. Lucas wasn't expecting me. When I walked in, he actually jumped, like I'd caught him doing something wrong. He recovered quickly, but I saw it. He asked why I was home. I told him. He asked if anyone could verify that I'd left work early. I laughed. A sharp, brittle sound. What? Do you want a witness statement? He looked hurt, like I'd misunderstood him. But here's the thing I can't stop thinking about. Lucas sees people at their worst. Liars, killers, people who swear they're innocent while the evidence stacks up around them. Somewhere along the way, that lens turned on me. I don't think he wants to hurt me. I think he's terrified of being wrong. And I don't know which is scarier, that he's suspicious of me for no reason, or that he's trained himself to believe that everyone, eventually, is. Our wedding invitations are sitting in a box in the hallway, unmailed. Sometimes I catch him looking at me like he's solving a puzzle. Sometimes I catch myself editing my own memories before I speak, just to avoid another discrepancy. I love him. Or at least, I love the man I thought he was before I realized I might be a case file. And lately, when he asked me how my day was, I find myself wondering whether he's asking as my fiancé or as my detective.